So, 2022 has been a rather interesting year for me personally. A lot of things have happened, a lot of things have changed, a lot of things went a certain way. So, I wanted to talk about it and do something like this that I haven't really done often. And that's get to tell you, like, what I've been doing outside of my personal life. So let's talk about it. This is me on Talk with Texan. So let's talk about my 2022. So, where to start? I guess since we're going to be going from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, I guess we should start with probably the biggest thing that happened in my life is that I am now a high school graduate. I graduated somewhere in June, and I actually managed to get my diploma and everything. If you don't believe me, here is a picture of me in my high school attire, I guess you can say, and I'll show the casing of the diploma here. It was a bit interesting experience for me personally because I didn't think high school was honestly gonna end for a long time. At least to me, or at least it felt like it wasn't gonna be graduating anytime soon. But here I am now. 13 years of school. I got held back 1 year, and I guess it was all worth it in the end because now I'm a high school graduate and I'm also now working a full-time job, which kind of brings me to the next thing that happened in my life is that now I'm working a job. I worked two different jobs. One was a seasonal job, and it's a water park not that far from where I live. And it was an interesting experience, like, working over there. I worked as a cook for a good while over at that particular water park, and it was interesting. Like, I never cooked in like some kind of kitchen, like that kind of kitchen before, and it's also pretty stressful because when it gets to rush hour, like everybody's wanting to go get lunch, like it gets busy and it gets stressful at times. I one time had to even take a break, like get some air and stuff, just so I can at least try to calm down. Because like it's pretty hot in there because like where I was working, like I worked two different places. One was a food, like some kind of food shack place, and it was a lot more stressful in there compared to the other place that I would work at. It's a little pizza place where you can order pizza and stuff. I just stated the obvious there, so. But it was an interesting experience and very, very stressful. So I'd say it was like it would give me a good insight on like what it's like to be some kind of a cook, in a sense, I guess. It's stressful, but it's also fun at the same time. I like cooking for people. I usually cook for my family, but I never worked like in a public area where I can cook for like hundreds of people. So it was a rather interesting experience. And for those that are wondering what other things that I cooked besides pizza, I cooked burgers, I cooked french fries, I cooked chicken tenders, I cooked hot dogs. I did 5 different things, and it was interesting and seeing what it's like to cook with those particular things because obviously I cooked on the grill before, but I'm not used to like cooking like 20 or 30 burgers on one grill at the same time before, and this is a lot bigger grill compared to the one that you would get at your house. And I'm not used to cooking like 30 different burgers with that next to like hot dogs and stuff. And I also got to use the fryer for a little bit, and honestly, it's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, but it's also kind of like you have to keep an eye on it from time to time to make sure like nothing sticks over to like the basket. I remember one time when I was working over at Typhoon, Texas, and this is probably gonna make a lot of people hit their heads when I say this, but there was, I think, tenders that weren't coming out of the basket and they were just out the fryer. And my dumbass self thought it would be a good idea to grab it by the bottom of the basket, 19 years of age. And I didn't think about how hot it was going to be. I grabbed it because my initial thought was to like try to use the bottom of the basket to help move the bottom of the basket more up to help like try to get the tenders down, completely forgetting that it was it was already in the fryer by the time I got it out. So I'm a complete idiot for that. I don't know if that's like the first time, if anybody else has done that before when they completely forgot one thing, but I learned my lesson. Big time. But obviously with winter here and there isn't really much for water parks right now. So I didn't quit, but I don't think I'm going to be working there again because I have another job now and I ship packages and stuff. And it's been also an interesting experience, very physical and tiring, and that's kind of why I haven't really been streaming that much. I might as well just say it now, because I've been wanting to talk about this. I did a community post on it, but I haven't really been streaming that much because, A, I have been pretty burnt out with YWL lately and just streaming in general, and 2, work hasn't really been helping that much either, because I'm working for like half the day, and by the time I'm done, I'm usually just drained and just tired and want to go to sleep. Sometimes I don't even feel like making food after that. So I'm working like for a pretty long time, and it's pretty physical, and I'm usually just drained and I don't feel like doing live streams. It's why I haven't really been streaming that much. So if you're wondering why I haven't been doing any of the YWL streams lately, it's that. And it's exhausting, I'll tell you that. And now we've reached the part that I've been wanting to talk about the most. I was initially going to be wanting to make a video, like a whole video on this alone, but the one thing that I discovered is that I suck at vlogging and forget that I need to record like a lot of different things. So I decided to just like not do it. But I will talk about it here and show a little bit of some footage of what I did manage to record in my time doing this. So for those that don't know what I'm talking about my time on my first ever deer hunting trip. So, this was something I planned out for a very long while, ever since the start of 2022, I think, because obviously with school now coming to an end, I was thinking of what I wanted to do with my time after that. And for some reason, I got into deer hunting videos. I watched videos from guys like Backwoods Life and Buck Commander. Backwoods Life being my favorite deer hunting or hunting in general YouTube channel, and I got inspired by them got into them after watching many of their videos involving one of my favorite country artists, Brantley Gilbert, and I decided that for some reason I wanted to try to do hunting myself, and I told my dad about it, and he helped me with a lot of different things. For one, we went to the shooting range a couple different times to get some practice in, and he also helped me with trying to get my deer hunting license, and I still have it. It's still like, hang on, and here it is with me right here. So this is basically like a license and tag combined into one, from what I've seen, because like this isn't from Texas. I was hunting out of state, and the reason why I wanted to hunt out of state was because I have family out of state. a lot of northern country folk. And it would be the first time that I'm going hunting with somebody that I know who has been an avid hunter and grew up with that kind of style. My grandpa. He helped me with trying to like figure out with like where we were gonna hunt, and it was like a little place not that far from the house. And let me let me tell you actually some other things about my trip and what was the experience like when I was there. So after I got everything, I got my license, I got my deer hunting equipment, which I'll show right here. So I felt that I actually got enough to do this hunting trip. So my plan was to come in on the 17th because New York hunting for rifle season was happening somewhere on the 19th, and I wanted to get in a couple days early. And we did that. The process to get over there was a long time. Because I honestly thought I wasn't going to be able to make it to New York before I even stepped foot to the plane. By the time we got to the airport, it was busy as hell. Here's some footage to show that I'm not lying about that. Like, we weren't expecting something like that to happen. Thankfully, the line was actually going pretty fast, and thankfully by the time we got to the gate that I was supposed to go to, we managed to actually get to the place that I was going to stop first before landing into the last place that I was going to land in. Then I met up with my grandpa, and we drove all the way over to his house where I was going to be staying for the next couple weeks. So then, a couple days after I managed to get to New York and get to my grandpa's place, we finally started the first day of hunting season. And let me tell y'all, and those that don't know about that much hunting, the one thing that is going to be seen on hunting videos is not going to be what it's like when you actually go hunting yourself. And there's going to be a little bit of footage. So here's me when I got to the deer stand for the first time.
I am at the hunting stand now. I'm alone at the moment, but I have somebody coming over. My other grandfather, my grampy, he's going to be coming here sometime shortly. But I'm in the hunting stand now, and it's a little small. It has adjustable windows. I just want to check something real quick. Oh, you son of a bitch, come on. Why is this thing? Oh. This one slides open just fine. But yeah, we're here. I'm here. And I'm just about ready, hopefully, to find my first buck. Got my rifle over there. I got the light on just because I wanted y'all to see me. So I'm a little nervous. I hate the dark. I've always hated the dark. But I think I'm safe. For the most part. But let's go and look for some freaking deer. I'm ready.
I don't honestly remember what time it was that I got woken up, but I remember that it was really early in the morning, and you saw in the video that it was pretty much early in the morning, but by the time I got to New York, it was already snowing, and of course by the time it was deer hunting time, it was snowing all over here. But all I've been doing was just waiting to see some kind of deer just come by, and it was pretty much silence and nothing really much other than just that. I scouted a little bit, just waiting to see if there was going to be a deer coming up, at least a doe. By the way, did anybody else notice that, like, their first time hunting, that you're going to see a lot more doe than you see bucks? Because that's all that happened with me. Like, it's just doe, 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 and more doe. It was insane, but also, like, I was getting that urge to just wanting to get a buck so badly at that point. Of course, my grampy would also show up sometime later after finally getting over to the stand. Here's the clip of me with him.
Alright, so we are finally together. This is my grampy. Say hi.
Hello.
Yeah. Now we are looking to try to find my first buck. Hopefully, anyway. We got here about 5 minutes ago?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've been here since like 6 or something.
Yeah. Oh, have you? You know, when you sent me that message, your dad said that, or Grumpy George said to show up at 7, so that's what I could have come up earlier.
Well, we're at least we're here now. All that matters is just trying to find that one lucky buck.
Well, $1. Lucky for you if you get it.
Yeah.
Hey, don't be disappointed if you miss her, because I've missed many a buck over my years.
Yeah.
All you do is shake your head and kick yourself in the ass and then go for the next day.
Yeah.
And of course, by the time he got here, I think that's when luck started to change a little bit. This is when we started to see a little bit more doe, but no bucks. We've seen one just like running across the field from where we were standing, or where we were at, and we were also seeing like doe like not that far from from the tree stand we were at, and they were just there, just like, I think they were eating at the grass that was underneath there, trying to get something to eat. I don't know.
So, little update. We saw 3 doe, and only 3. We haven't seen a buck yet, but 2 hours into this little hunting trip, and that was the only deer that we ever saw. 3 doe, and they just went up the field up here. And we're just hoping to see that a buck is gonna follow right behind them. It's just all about the timing.
Being in the right spot at the right time, that's for sure.
Yeah. Just to let everybody know who's new to hunting, it is not anything like the hunting videos that you see on YouTube.
Trust me, this ain't hunting. It's like being in a motel room.
We got a little small heater in here and a small toilet. We got food in my backpack over here. But at least it's more.
All we need is some wild women.
Yeah. But so far, no nice big bucks yet. We haven't seen any 8-pointers.
We don't care if it's a little buck, just it's a buck. A buck's a buck, man.
As long as I get to eat it, that's all that matters to me. Alright, 2 hours after the last recording, it is 10:31 or 2 right now, and we haven't found jack shit. We haven't seen any other doe since the last time, and they already scurried on away from the field over here. Right now, we're just waiting, and I just really wanted to eat at least one good buck. We'll update you as time goes on.
Yeah, any hunter that has ever gone deer hunting for a long time would always tell you that waiting is the worst part about deer hunting. It gets annoying. Some hunters don't often get deer, and then there's some that actually get deer. My dad actually, like, he's told me that he never, in the 12 years that he's went hunting, he's never gotten a single buck. And it was kind of weird to me. Because my grandpa, he's at least gotten one deer at least every year. But some people are just that unlucky. So then we were just enjoying the scenery, I guess. There was just a lot of snow and a lot of trees, and it was just pure quietness. And by the time it was somewhere at 11, my grandpa George came in, and we were the two that ended up staying the rest of the time in this deer stand together.
Here we are, first day of New York hunting season. Jaden's first hunt.
Yeah. Grampy went up and left, but we got my Grandpa George over here who's also hunting deer with me. And
Bear.
that too. Aside from the occasional doe, we still haven't found a single buck.
And we may not.
It's gonna take a little while.
Don't run your battery though.
I won't, I'll be fine. Besides, I haven't really done much except for maybe recording. But hopefully we'll find something sooner or later.
And once again, it was just waiting. So we ended up waiting for, like, I think by the time that happened, we waited for an additional 6 or 7 hours, maybe. Like, for just waiting. And we were also, like, taking some occasional naps because, like, what else were we gonna do besides just sit there and look at the scenery? I closed my eyes at least a few times and took an occasional nap. Grandpa was also taking a nap next to me. And despite wanting to go to the bathroom so much, I held it in. And I didn't want to go to the bathroom until we got back to the house. But then, somewhere around 4, I got one.
Starting recording right now. So update, it is 4:05 p.m. and I think I got it. I think I got one. We saw one from down this direction over here, and I took my shot. It was either a doe or a buck, and it was pretty big. So I'm gonna guess it's a buck. So we'll have to see. We're heading over there right now. We got a bit of trekking to do, but God, I'm so shaky right now after that. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm shaky. But I'm so glad I got one at least. It is day 1 of hunting season, and I think I might have actually got my first buck.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
I'm just hoping.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to.
We'll start recording once we get it, and once we find the deer.
Help me.
Yeah, by the time I took the shot, the deer was roughly 150 or 200 yards away from where the stand was. And I was shooting a .308 Ruger. And by the time we saw the buck, we saw it a second time way before I shot it, but it was a lot closer and I couldn't get a clear shot because there was branches and trees just blocking it. But we had a better sight and I had a better angle to where I could shoot it. And by the time that we got to the deer, and by the time I pulled the trigger on the deer, it went down and it went over an additional like 30 something yards. And by the time we found it, we saw it, and it was a buck. It was a 4-pointer, but the body was like 180 pounds of meat. And I think I was the most overjoyed about getting that buck than I ever thought I would.
I actually got one. It's right here. It's right here. It's a small rack, but it's definitely my first. It's definitely good for my first buck. My grandfather told me to get my rifle ready, and we had it in my sights, and he wanted me to shoot it, and I saw it, and I didn't know if I was gonna make it, and I'm so happy for this right now. I got my first buck. My grandfather's gonna get the side-by-side right now, but oh man, I'm so happy right now. Oh. I was shaking on the way here, and it wasn't because of the cold. It was because I never thought I would actually get something like this. Sorry, I had to do that. We pulled it a little bit closer from where it originally was, but oh man, this is awesome. That was probably one of the scariest things I think I ever experienced in my life. But that was awesome. Now we have to carry this back to the house. I'll see you then.
Real quick, I also just want to say sorry about the audio. I didn't even know it was like this when I just looked back at the footage. And I'm also sorry for the slobber that you saw. I really am. I'm sorry. But yeah, I was just surprised and happy, and I felt like I accomplished something when I got that buck. And I thought it was like 50 yards, but my grandpa assured that it was like well over 100, maybe 150 or 200 even. But by the time he got his side-by-side back, he helped me with field dressing the deer. He wanted me to do it, but I didn't have confidence, and I also didn't have latex gloves, because I was going to try to do something that I saw with the bearded butchers, with how they field dress their deer. And we also took it into the processor, to a deer processor, get the meat and all that stuff. We ended up having to wait like for like the next 2 weeks that I was there for me to get the meat that I needed. And by the time that happened, we got to try some butterfly chops and some ground venison. And venison is a lot different than any other meat that I have ever tried. It's a different taste. And we also tried it with some bearded butcher seasoning. But it was an interesting taste, and I liked it, and the seasoning helped a lot. But it was just different compared to anything else that I've ever tried before. And I think that's what made it something interesting to me. I also wanted to say something about the butterfly chops, but they were a lot smaller than I honestly thought, because they were smaller than any steak that I've ever seen. And despite the size, it did taste pretty good, so I can't really complain about it. But the rest of the time that I was in New York, I was getting to hang out with like a lot of people, and a lot of the people that saw me with the buck said I really got a nice buck, and they were saying that's a good one, and saying nice job to me and stuff, and I felt accomplished about that, and I'm just glad that I was able to get it. Because I honestly thought I didn't think I was going to be able to get a buck like that. Or let alone any buck at all. I know there are a lot bigger sized racks than mine. Because, watching things like Backwoods Life and Buck Commander, you get to see a lot of big sized racks and big sized deer when they're going hunting. But I think it's good for at least the first try, and it's very rare for people to get a buck on their first ever hunt on the first ever day. It's extremely rare. And my family were joking about that as well, and then it turned into a reality. I'm just happy that I at least got $1. So that's basically what I can think of in terms of my 2022. 2022 has been a interesting year for me personally, and it's also been a crazy year with all these things that I've been able to do, and some of these things I thought I wasn't really going to be able to do, but here I am now, and I've done them. I'm just glad that I did. And now I'm hoping to at least have a good 2023. As well as for the people that have been watching this video, thank you for watching, and thank you for the understanding if you were wondering what's been going on with why I haven't been streaming as frequently as I should have. But thank you for at least watching this video, and thank you for listening to the stories, and hopefully y'all have a good 2023 as well. If you want to see more of my content, be sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like if you did. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and until next time, I'll see ya.